mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to get rowdy. All I'm trying to do is get rowdy to let some people about it. That's your cold open. Oh, see if I can get back in focus here. That would be great. Hello. There we go. All right, welcome back to Mariner Mondays. We're gonna do this might look weird to you in the beginning. Um, because of time stuff. Again, time's difficult and you got a bunch of different people that you do stuff with, right? Brittany and I are on your screen right now. We're gonna go through our talking points here for the past week as we're into the first week of actual games in spring training, which is so nice. Like I saw Brittany post, I think it was like the MLB game day. It was like the first pitch. It wasn't even like a hit, it was just the first pitch. And it was
So
like,
good.
that's great.
We made it. We made it.
Part of it is we made it, part of it is already seeing complaints about them not winning a spring training game yet. And I was like, all right, guys. Like we're at the before first pitch today, we were two games in. I'm like, please calm down.
They won
It'll be
today. We're good.
fine.
We're gonna win the World Series now.
Oh
We're
yeah,
good.
especially after how things went today.
Yeah.
Ben Williamson, 2 hits. Mm. Anyway, yeah, you'll see. So we'll go through the talking points, and Brittany and I'll go first, and then if all things go well, you'll see Jake's talking right after it, and I'll just edit it out, all like that. Um, God forbid, you guys have stuff you do in your free time. Like, why would you do that?
It's
So,
weird to have a life outside of baseball, and I don't
do
have much of a
people
life
have?
outside of baseball, but
Is that a
yeah.
thing people have?
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy thought.
I'm working on it. I'm not doing great, but I'm working on it. I'm hoping my boyfriend doesn't break up with me before the All-Star break.
Well, oh, a third one. I mean, given some of the unique takes I've heard from him, like, come on, man, we'll work on it. Just like the pitching lab has resurrected some of these players, maybe we can resurrect some of the takes on
Okay.
this.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, the ever important, we'll get into it. We're gonna talk about, the past few games. This is being recorded on Sunday after the Mariners defeated the huh? Diamondbacks. I can speak. I'm so excited as you can tell. It's such a big win.
Yep.
3 games, that first full squad workout was last Tuesday, the 18th. They had a couple more squad workouts. And then we got into games on Friday, the 21st, as the Mariners fell to the. This one was a little interesting and maybe a little funny. The Mariners fell to the Padres. Padres hang a three spot up in the beginning. Part of it's Manny Machado hits a 2-run bomb. And I'm like, oh, well, that one, it's always interesting to me, at least with spring training, to see the pitchers for the day. When I saw Jonathan Diaz, Blas Castano, Will Klein, Cody Bolton, Jimmy Kingsbury, I was just like, oh, this is like your older
Yeah.
group of relievers. Austin Kitchen cooked. Hey, my prediction
I saw that.
still lives.
I saw that. Yep, you're hanging
Um,
in there.
Jonathan Diaz kind of struggle. I mean, he's largely a contact guy,
Yeah.
right? Like he's not gonna be a guy that fans. He got one strikeout, but I mean, I kind of expected that. Will Klein looked fine. I don't think anybody pitching wise really stood out too much here. I mean, Jesse Hahn had 2 strikeouts, 2 punchies. But this one was kind of funny due to the fact that the Mariners regulars that were in this game, which was a decent amount, JP, Julio, Cal, Randy, Mitch, I wouldn't call Dom a regular, but Dom Canzone, Tyler Locklear, Austin Shenton, and Ryan Bliss was your starting lineup. They went no hit for a decent amount of this game, and I'm sure there was some anger about that. I don't know. This one didn't stick out to me too much. There were only 2 hits for the Mariners in this game anywhere. Blake Hunt got one of them, and I think Brittany, I think you even said it was always Blake
It was
Hunt.
always gonna be him. Come
Um,
on.
oh, and Samad Taylor got the first homer of the spring, just like he did last year, per what
Yep.
you said, right? I don't know. Like we'll quickly kind of push on these each individually, and then um, it's just if you took anything from the majority of this one, because I know you saw Mitch Garver drop his hands, right? We'll get
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah. Hmm.
I want to ask you, I don't know how much of this one you caught. What did you think about Blake Hunt in this one? Because again, he's a guy that we've talked about before on the show, off camera.
Yeah.
Like, how did he like? I know he got a hit here, but did he look in the limited time he got? Because again, small sample size. I don't
Small
know. What did
samples.
you?
Yeah, I'd say I need to see more.
Okay.
I what I really look for is how a catcher is commanding the field, not just the
Yes.
interactions with the pitcher, but commanding the whole field. I didn't really get the opportunity to observe that. But with, runners on, runners in scoring position, how does a catcher handle himself if the pitcher is getting wild with runners on? Those are the kind of situations that I think tell us a little bit more about where a catcher is uh, defensively and leadership wise, because that's such a huge part of it. And I getting ahead of myself, but I felt this way in the second game when Harry Ford was catching,
Mm,
and that disaster of an inning just started to spiral, and you could tell it was really catching up on Logan Evans. Like he was going too fast, and I wanted to see Harry kind of take a little bit more control and step out in front of the plate or call time. He did call time once. Probably needed to call time again, unfortunately. So those are the kinds of things that I really look for. It's hard to assess offensive performances this far into it. But yeah, I'll look forward to keep watching Blake Hunt.
yeah, two things in that. One, just I feel like hearing you talk about leadership and being able to slow the game down
Yeah.
and defend, like it just all like emphasizes how important Cal Raleigh is and has been and will be, right, to the staff. Because obviously you've got a bunch of, I'm gonna keep using talking like this, a bunch of horses on this staff, but they will have their issues here and there over the course of 162 games, right?
Yeah.
And being
Yes.
able to calm them the hell down, because you won't
Yeah.
be able to have Pete come out and talk to you every single inning,
Yep.
um, is really important. Whether and that's between innings as well, right? For Cal. So um, I mean that transitions well into this really this games against the Angels. When are the games against the Angels ever normal? Because I
Never.
had this one, the Saturday was a really busy day. I think in total 15 teams played of the 41 that we cover. And so I had it split screen. I had the MLB TV. Thank God they're free because I gotta pay for that still. I gotta buy my scorebook. I had that, and
I'll
then the
send you a
Rain were
reminder.
playing a preseason game. And yeah, I did notice that because I was excited to watch Logan Evans, right? And that one got away. I mean, you kind of talked about it. Was it him just kind of rushing things? Because I mean, this
Yeah.
won't spell like the end of the world for him, but
No.
like at the most, it was an opportunity to show off what he's got. And I still think we probably see him at maybe some point.
I think so
Um,
too.
but I
Yeah.
don't know what was his issue here? Because I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it was kind of ugly.
He gave up a lot of hard contact. Um, and I don't think it's not pulling up right now. I'm not sure he recorded a single whiff. So
Oh,
it's hard because we don't know what a pitcher might be working on, right? Maybe they ran
yes.
him out there and they're like, hey, man, instead of your typical arsenal, we want to see how this pitch plays on this side of the plate, or we want to see you approach batters in this way just to see, if it'll work. You don't always know what might be going on, but he did get hit hard. And when he got hit hard, the game sped up on him. He wasn't throwing to a bunch of the Angels minor leaguers. It was primarily, a lot of Angels starters. And Tim Anderson, whatever we're doing with him. I don't know if we're calling him a starter, but
Tim
he was
Anderson
there.
Reclamation Project.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it sped up on him a little bit. I think he'll be okay. I think bad games like that are really good information, and he has struck me as the type of pitcher to learn and grow from outings like that. I mean, just how quickly he's come up through the system and how well he's succeeded thus far. I'm not worried about him after that outing. If he
Yeah.
gets hit hard all spring, then I would be curious to look at if there's any consistencies in what's getting hit hard or
Yeah.
locations of pitches. Um, like I said, I did want to see someone kind of try to step up for him a little bit more. I don't know, maybe it isn't Harry in that situation. Maybe it needed to be a big leaguer just to
Mm,
calm him down. And he did finally settle in a little bit, but one game we got a lot of time.
yeah, and you might get a little red-faced here, but hearing you break down the stuff about, not knowing what he's working on, right? Because who knows what they might, especially with the current rotation plus Emerson Hancock, all guys who are working on stuff all the time, and we're hearing about it a lot right now. I think with Emerson, we're working on a cutter, and maybe changing the grip on his sweeper, like they
Why not?
probably might want him, they might encourage him to tinker, right?
Yeah,
And so maybe this was a game he was doing that. And this is like spring is the
totally.
this is why I don't give a I'm not going to use it this early. I'm going to wait. I don't care about losing 10 to 11 to the Angels in where was this, Tempe, Arizona. I don't care, right? So, um, yeah, it's just interesting to hear, what he might be working with. Also, the factor, like, to have somebody maybe help him, because who was in this lineup? Victor, Dylan, Mitch, Luke Ray. Yeah, I mean, it's not a ton because, like, you
It
get the
wasn't.
second half of the lineup, but
Yeah.
I mean, like, even a Demo or a Luke, guys who have been
Yeah.
around at least a few years. Because I mean, I don't know if I'm looking over to Leo Rivas. Hey man,
No,
I need
but
help here.
Demo for sure
Yeah,
could
you get what I'm
could fill
saying,
that role. But
right? That side of the
you feel
infield.
bad. You feel bad for the guy because it very clearly sped up on him real fast.
Yeah, and just all that to say, like seeing it speed up, it's like it's why I do these shows with these people is because you guys are so much smarter than this, and it was cool to see the tier list of Mariners Twitter and you being in the like one of the upper tiers, and I was like, even earlier in the off season, I saw that and you were up there. I was like, people respect Brittany. This is
Well,
good to see.
I appreciate that. I don't know why.
The Thai France propaganda,
That's
obviously.
exactly what it is.
Um, Yeah, this game, I like Logan Evans struggling was kind of the biggest thing I took from this. Neftali Feliz did not have the best outing per se.
Mm-mm.
Um, yeah, well, I did look up when I saw Carlos Vargas was in the game. I mean, he got a strikeout, so there's that.
Yeah,
Um, but I mean, Hogan Windish, 2 hits, that's nice. Nick Dunn was a guy that I had to kind of remind myself about because he was one of the big players in this one.
yeah.
Um, 2 ribbies. 1 hit in this one. Like I had to remind myself who the hell he was, and remind myself of the invite list. Like I don't think that's the guy we'll ever care about. But yeah, I think the biggest one from game 2 was looking at Logan Evans and wondering, hey man, like all season we heard about you at the big leagues. Like, is he gonna come up? Like, heard about how well he was doing in Arkansas, right? Yeah, this is not something that I'm like ready to like write the obituary on his career like he's done. We're over. Um, you know, Game 3 was, I think this one was nice just for fans at the basic level to see the regulars get to doing some things, right?
Yeah.
6 run second inning, really kind of exploded things. Like it wasn't as much like that Angels game where there were the defensive errors. I was watching. Oh, I don't have my glove near me, but seeing just a routine pop fly in left field, sorry, and I was like, okay, the out's there. And I see the ball at the warning track, and I was
Classic
like,
Angels.
this is terrible.
Classic Angels.
I think did you retweet your tweet about the Angels infield exploding in that one game from like 23? Yeah, that
Yep.
was ugh. Um so but yeah, I mean in this one, JP 2 hits, Cal Raleigh gets a knock on a ribby. Um Mitch Garver 2 hits, 2 runs. Mm-hmm. Dom Canzone 2 hits. I mean, I would love for you to do that normally, man.
Yeah.
But then some of the guys who are like, I don't know if it's fair to call them tweeners, but guys who like, there's the potential of you playing a big league game this year is there. Those guys plus the guys who will probably and aren't like the top regulars, like a Bliss, right? Like a Locklear. Locklear got 2 ribbies in this one. Yep. Ben Williamson, 2 hits, 2 runs. No, 1 run, 2 ribbies. So this was just a nice game in general to see that happen. Emerson Hancock, I mean, 3 hits against, but only the one run, 2 punchies. That's nice.
Yeah.
And to know that he's messing with things is
Hmm.
interesting.
Yeah.
I will really watch what Emerson does this year wherever he is, just because like I think any other rotation he would be on a big league rotation. Any other organization, sorry. And outside of like maybe the top three in the league. Here he's not. And, so I wonder if that's frustrating to him, right? It's like, hey, I like have stuff to be at this level, and just because they're so damn good, I can't do anything, right? I don't
I'd
know.
hope
Did
it would be
you?
motivating rather than
Oh
frustrating.
yeah,
Would
I'm
be
sure
my
it is.
vote.
Like he's a
Yeah.
good, humble kid. Every time we talk to him, and like especially to know that he is tinkering too. I'm like, good. Like I would say it's like Bryce's thing to tinker, but they all do it anyway. Logan likes taking things. George takes things, right? Like Brian does. I think maybe the only one who doesn't is Luis, and he still every once in a while will add a little niche. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell are you doing?
Why not?
Luis M. Castillo, because Luis F. Castillo pitched in this game. He kind of struggled. I don't know. Did you take any? Well, maybe this is your, unless you saw something else and you want me to shut up. But did you? This might be your opportunity to talk about Mitch and him
Yeah.
dropping his hands a little bit, because this is, and he got a walk, which I mean
Yeah.
I kind of expect from him, but this might be something that Kevin Seitzer, Bobby
Hmm.
Magallanes, is it Bobby? Yeah, I know Magallanes. I forgot the first name. I don't know. Is that some, or was there anything
Yeah.
else you saw from this game?
No, it was great to see hard contact for Garver. That was awesome. The disclaimer is always take everything with a grain of salt. It's spring training, but still, when you are going up against, pitchers that are minor leaguers, lesser than you, you should hit them hard. And that is exactly what you should be doing. So that was really great to see. That is a Seitzer thing, going back and looking at how he worked when he was with the Braves. That was kind of a trademark thing he did with the Braves organization when guys were struggling, is dropping his hands. I think he tried it with Jared Kelnick. I don't know how that worked out. But if a hitting coach is doing this consistently enough, it means he's seen at least a good enough percentage of success in using this adjustment. So the big thing with Garver is I want to see him not chasing, because that was big last year, was just the whiffs. And so if he can pick his pitches, swing at good pitches, and just have better choices, I guess is how I'll put it, is better pitch selection. And
Mm,
yeah, it was really great to see that hard contact for him. And let's just get him some confidence. Who
yeah,
cares if he's
yeah.
hitting, 111 off the bat off a minor league pitcher? Like, fine, whatever it takes to get him
Just get him
confidence and get
rolling.
him rolling, get him and going into the season on a good note. um that's what I really want to see. So I loved that. That made me happy. That was
Yeah.
good.
And I mean, that makes sense. Like in every sport, as cliche as it might be, but obviously, if every sport's saying it in some degree, whether it's seeing a shot go in for basketball, seeing a goal go in hockey and soccer, like it does matter, like for some of these guys. And
Yeah.
with as much like how we've talked, I think last episode, yeah, about um how like the opportunity is there for Mitch Garver to have a big bounce back year, whether it is the odd year or whatever you may have it. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't start if he has a terrible spring and he just feels bad about himself. Like that just makes it worse. Like
Totally.
at the end of the
Yeah.
day, this is business as usual, and I just need to see this continue. I'm like, all right, the good contact, let's just keep it up. I don't care if you
Yep.
mash homers in this, to send balls into the spring night. I don't give
Yep.
a shit.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, and I'll include this in the piece that I'm working on, but his whiff rate was up 7% in 2024 from 2023. 2023 was a really good year for him. His zone swing rate was down and his zone contact rate was down. So he just was swinging less, making contact less. that chase rate was up and then the chase contact rate was down. So in 2023, when he was chasing, he was at least making contact 50% of the time. Last year, he was chasing more and only making contact 42% of the time. It's just a recipe for disaster. So
Yeah.
get him some good, solid contact, get him some good plate appearances. Loved to see him draw a walk. That's great.
Yeah, I'm just trying to pick at anything else from here, and I don't think there's too much. I mean, Casey Legumina,
Yeah,
another strikeout.
that's
Oh,
interesting. The Paul Sewald comp is definitely there. It's super clear. So I would guess that they're trying to do with him kind of what they did with Sewald.
yeah, that and it's nice to get there are a few things that are nice to come back. First of all, I did while this was happening, my dad commented on one of our posts that life is better when you can listen to the Mariners on the radio, and I would agree with that.
Yes, it
Um,
is.
but also seeing Pitching Ninja on my feed is great.
Oh
But
God,
when it
right?
was Shintaro, I was like, oh, let me watch these because I didn't really get to watch them. Ooh, there's some nice drop in this. There's
He
some
has
real
some
nice.
gross stuff, but man, that control
The control.
is an
Yeah.
issue,
And
and it
that's
reared
gonna
its head
dominate his
today.
story, right?
Yeah,
Like if and again, we're in the third game here. I think this is his first game that he's pitched in. Like he didn't hit anybody in the head. So that's nice.
but he was close.
Yeah. Yeah. I should have said that. I should have said he was close, but he
Came
didn't.
close.
Yeah, and outside of
Oof.
that, it's nice to see University of Washington alum Stephen Wraith,
Yeah.
who spent a lot of time, I think, in Everett this past year. Yep, Everett. Um, he, cleaned up the rest of that game, so that was nice. But yeah, outside of that, I mean, it's just we're gonna with the games this year. I don't think any of them require too much breakdown unless something crazy happens. Um, this
The other thing
spring.
I will say is it was really good to see JP work the count and
Yeah.
do what you need him to do. Winning a 10 pitch at bat, even though it was soft contact off, it was a bloop, that's exactly what you need him to do is work a pitcher, see pitches. That was the JP we know. So I really like to see
Yeah.
that. I want to see more of that.
That's the thing I was thinking about. I was like, when JP Crawford's at his best as a hitter, he's able to cause havoc, at the plate, whether that is the fact that there's the whole his whole 2023 that will be a blip year, I imagine.
Probably.
Maybe. Yeah.
Probably.
But even before then, he was effective because he could get on base and he could draw things out and help,
Yeah.
there were so many instances the last few years of him working the count and either resulted in something good for him
Hmm.
or the hitters behind him in the lineup because he had worked the pitcher out, right? Like
Exactly.
this is just stuff that you need to see from him, and like that's a good that is a there are going to be little things in these spring training games that we will talk about like that. I don't care what else like happened in the rest of the game. Like, outside of that, there's not too much the you should be taking from these spring training games, right? It's unhealthy to look at them in a win-loss
Yeah.
scenario.
Please don't.
Other things to be concerned about, maybe, as we change the topic over. Um, it was a little interesting to me that to know that Donovan Solano didn't report until what, yesterday or the last few days to spring as he was dealing with some visa stuff. Um and then Jorge Polanco is not playing third base in game situations yet, which yeah, that's interesting. And like we know because of the folks that are on site, um that like he's been working with Perry, right? I think Jude today might have had it was Jude or Shannon, I think, had something about Perry working with Jorge and Ben. I'm like, that's an interesting duo there.
I like it.
Um, you know, but I don't know. Are you concerned with that at all? Because like anyone like generally, Mariners Twitter will be upset at anything that isn't like if things go out of off the tracks even the slightest bit. But I maybe with Polanco I'm just intrigued because if this is is if you're fully healthy, right? And this is the healthiest you've been, as his agent was talking about um, at the winter meetings, I think it was. Like, I'd imagine you'd be able to play, right? Like, I don't know. Do you have
Yeah,
any concern with a guy showing up late or a guy not being able to play his position yet?
I think I will always have concerns about Polanco until he proves that he is healthy. I think right now the expectation should just be caution because that's what we know with him. Ryan Divish did say today that he has not been cleared to play, is the wording that he used. So, yeah, that's concerning to me. It's great that he's there, he's working out, and that he supposedly is the healthiest he's ever been. Then why aren't you cleared yet?
Yeah.
Which there could be a ton of things that go into that. I have no idea. Uh, if he is not cleared within the week, I'm concerned. Which, and I'm honestly, I'm already concerned about it. Just all,
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
it. The knee, the injury, the arm throwing across the diamond. It's all concerning. So with Polanco, I say he kind of has to prove us wrong or prove himself right that hey, I'm healthy, hey, I'm going to be a good player, I'm going to be solid, I can do this. And until I see that, I I'm going to be skeptical. Solano doesn't necessarily concern me. He is 37, so I just hope that they build him up slowly, and he doesn't have any setbacks. As long as he's ready to go by opening day, we're good.
Yeah, just watching these videos, it's why it's fascinating to watch third baseman throw, only because of last year hearing all this stuff about Luis Urias and unable to get the ball across the diamond.
Rough.
Um, yeah, like I imagine with Solano, like I'm so tired of covering like visa things. Like we had the whole thing with Nika Mule and the Storm last year, and that was such a big deal. And oh yeah, the Kraken had Daniel Sprong's. I'm
Mhm.
so tired of like it's only gonna happen more. But yeah, I think cleared is why I brought it up. That word specifically is why I brought it up, and I was like, hey, this is worth talking about because again, if it really is like if you are fully healthy, I would have imagined you would have come into camp as such. Whatever the
Yeah.
hell you're not cleared for is a little weird to me.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they want to see him do physical activity, cuts and turns for a prolonged period of time. Maybe he's passing those tests well currently, but they need to see it more over more period of time. I don't know. That could be wishful thinking. That's just maybe the optimist in me. But boy, want to see him get on the field. Bad.
Yeah, it'll be a worry I think until we see his name in a lineup or something, or I just get the knowledge that he's cleared. Yeah, and with Solano, yeah, older guy. I mean, just be able to build him up, even though he's gonna be in a platoon. Like, so depressing to say that these are your two major signings, like of what you did, right? Those are your big guys. Oh God. We'll not get into anything further on that.
We've left the off season behind us now. We've moved
Have
on.
we? Will we ever be able to truly?
No, no.
Um, this one goes into just sort of we're going back into the either the both the bullpen videos and discussion about what guys are tinkering with. I think the biggest thing about the bullpen sessions was Andres Munoz and his new changeup toy that he only used once, but was yucky, stinky, nasty, whatever you want to use. Um, it's so funny to see like I understand it, and I'm not making fun of the writer at all. Like, obviously, Adam did a great job with this, but it's so funny to think about the concept of an article on one pitch that was thrown, right? Like,
Yeah,
I'm sure he'll throw it more, and we'll see it during the season, so on and so forth. But um, just to see what's being called a kick changeup,
yeah.
um, I don't even know how to talk about this.
It's exciting.
I don't know. I need you to talk about it because like,
Yeah, it's gross. First of all, 10 inches of vertical drop, disgusting. Um, Either Woodworth or Matt Brash said that's the best pitch I've ever seen after he threw it. It's it's exciting for Mooney. He could be, I mean, he already is such a stud and is really locked down as the year, the season goes on. We've seen him start to, towards the end of the season get get hit a little bit harder, and whether that's fatigue, whether it's just guys are seeing him better and there's, more book on him, it would be great for him to have another pitch to go to. So the
yeah.
kick change is something that I saw actually a couple of weeks ago, that Clay Holmes of the Mets,
Okay.
formerly of the Yankees, introduced. He worked to add that to his arsenal this offseason. So, and that was the first time I had ever heard of the kick change. So I'm guessing this is, things trend in baseball. This is how it works. We went on a sinker trend for a really long time, and now I'm hearing about a kick change. So I'm guessing we'll hear about this more and see more guys introduce it into their arsenal. But yeah, I think that was really exciting from the bullpen sessions. And just, it's really good to see Mooney looking healthy and throwing with ease. Because between the back, and I think there was maybe some knee stuff at the end of last
Yeah.
year, or was it an ankle?
It was, I don't remember definitively, but I know there was the back, which, because he was getting shots for that.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
And there was something, I don't remember if I'll look through my own stuff. I tweet so much that
Yeah.
I forget.
He
Um,
he was dinged up.
yeah, he was
And
dinged up is the point. And that's
yeah.
might have been why earlier in the season we saw his because his slider is incredible, but it
Mhm.
didn't have so much effectiveness, I don't believe, in the first half of the season, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and there were times too where Cal wasn't calling it, which was always surprising to
yes.
me.
Yeah.
And he just kept throwing a four seam, and either he couldn't locate it or it was getting hit hard. And I was sitting there wondering, why aren't we going to the slider? So yeah, there's been some interesting stuff with him. And I don't think we hear kind of the extent of injuries that he deals with. We always seem to find out like after the fact that, like, oh yeah, he tripped in the Oakland game, and it came out that he had been dealing with a back issue for like
Oh,
two
yeah.
weeks. So it was just nice to see him looking really easy on the mound, looking healthy, lots of pop still. That makes me happy because I was concerned about his innings last year with Brash going down. He threw a lot, not as much as Trent Thornton, but he threw a ton. So yeah, want to keep him healthy. He can be such a weapon.
Oh, God. Okay, sorry. I'm going through my old stuff, and this is totally unrelated, but it's your tweet actually. When I told Andres about how uh Jose Quintana, the second highest batting average against him ever is Luis Castillo.
Yes, that's
Andres
right.
really loved hearing about that. I
That's
do
right.
remember
Isn't
that.
that hilarious?
That's fascinating. I'll go into this because from what the availability I see in talking about it, he threw it once. It's the same grip as a circle change, except he lifts his middle finger up. Um, he kind of threw caution to the wind. Like Pete Woodworth loved it, which is nice. Matt Brash loved it, also nice. Two guys who would know a thing or two about that, right? But Andres was the guy who really threw a caution to the wind. It was like, well, no, opposite. Who threw like kind of threw a wet towel on it. Was like, hey, like I don't know how much I'm gonna throw this because he had to get clearance from the pitching staff to do it. I mean, the last thing you need is a guy to try something and like end up it being something stupid and he gets hurt, right? But it's funny looking at this availability and seeing that he kind of credited talking to Luis Castillo about it because of his changeup. I'm like,
Hmm.
So I don't know. Yeah, it would be really interesting to see if this is something that, he digs out and is able to use to be a real wipeout pitch. Um, or if it's just like the knuckleball that George throws like once a year.
Right.
I mean with the four seamer, it was just unfortunate to see that because it's like you could tell, as you were saying, something was wrong. Seeing the introduction of his two-seamer was nice. Like, ah, God, we got to get to just watching this in actual, like,
Yes, we
looking
do.
at the numbers, being able to
I
like
know.
sit there. And there were so many times in that press box, I'm sitting there and I'm just watching a pitch on repeat and just being fascinated by how the hell they're doing it. And you've got five guys who do that in a rotation and a couple more in your bullpen who do that. And I'm like,
We're so lucky.
we're so
Like,
blessed.
God, we're
To be
so
a
lucky.
pitching sicko in
Yeah.
this city is so fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was the big takeaway. Um, I do want to ask you about this because we got into games, yes, but obviously there are guys who are recovering. Matt Brash has thrown a few bullpens, and I think what I saw was that his velo was at like I don't know if I saw official velo, but like
91, 92.
so fans who might not know, is that anything to care about, or because he's building back up, there's no reason like it
Yeah.
makes sense to me given that we've got what at least 2 months before we
Hmm.
see him. Like
Yeah,
he's got to be building up strength, and this is something that has been documented is a long recovery, even with the brace. Like
it is.
I can I have you explain why that's not something to worry about because it seemed like that got more of a, and maybe it's just because we don't have anything else to grip onto.
Right, right.
But
No, that
can I have you
is.
explain that?
Yeah, that's a really good place for him to be. Actually, I made a note about that. It was really good to see him hitting the low 90s. If his estimated time of arrival is April, which again I think is maybe a little ambitious, him sitting low 90s is a good place for him to be right now, and he can sit there for a while. What he we don't want him to do is to build up too fast and start throwing too hard too quickly, and have a setback. This whole process coming back from this surgery is slow, it's tedious. I am sure no one hates it more than him. I am sure he wants to be out there on the mound throwing 98 to 100, like he normally does. But we don't want to see that right now because that is it's not a good place for him to be, at this point in his recovery. So 91 to 92, that's a nice spot for him. Now, if in, let's say, March, end of March, he's still sitting low 90s and hasn't built up, then we have an issue. Then we have concerns. Right now, I saw 91, 92, and I was really happy about that. And he looks like himself. That was another thing is he going to have to make adjustments to his
Mm,
mechanics, because of, this injury? He looks like himself. He's throwing smooth, gliding down the mound. I
mm.
really like what I've seen so far of him.
Yeah, and that was kind of what I figured. I was like, this is just part of the recovery timeline. Like, I'm not
Totally.
worried about it. But I look maybe for the worse for my mental health, but I look at what people are saying, and I'm just like, someone was like, I don't see the appeal with this guy, and I'm like, just go look at the numbers. I
Oh,
don't know what you
goodness.
need to look at. And then someone was like, is he supposed to be at this velo right now? And I'm like, I don't imagine he's gonna come back with like throwing gas. Like I don't think
No, it's
that's
February.
healthy or how that works.
Low 90s, that's a great place for him to be right now.
Yeah, so that's all I wanted. Did you see anything else bullpens wise that like maybe piqued your interest this past week or what? It feels like it was
Yeah,
mostly Andres and his kick
yeah,
change.
it was. I will say it was good to see Gregory Santos.
Yes.
Um, he throws a heavy fastball. And a heavy fastball is something that's kind of hard to describe. You kind of have to see it to understand. That thing is like a bowling ball coming at you. And it was good to see him hitting his velo consistently, hitting his spots. He is one that until I see him play consistently, I'm just kind of
Yep.
not buying in because, as people have said it, he's just kind of an idea right now. That was awesome to see. And I can't remember who got that bullpen video. I would guess it was Divish or Adam Jude. But the angle was fantastic of his bullpen. So
Oh,
Santos was the other one that caught my eye. I watched that one a couple times.
the one on the 20th?
Probably.
This one's got two video. I can kind of see what you're saying now with the heavy fastball. That
Yeah.
thing,
Yep.
oh Jesus.
Would not want to be the catcher on the receiving end of that
No. Well, and
fastball.
then
You
that
wouldn't want to be the
helps.
catcher on most of these pitchers' fastball, but yeah, the way that that ball comes in and the way it spins is whew.
It does. It looks like it. Oh God. Oh God.
Yeah.
It was funny to read that Kyle kind of muttered under his breath after the going back to the Munoz thing to wrap this one up. He just kind of saying, "What the hell?"
Yep.
When
That's a good sign, man. If your catcher is having a reaction like that, that is a good sign.
especially a guy like that who's seen a bunch of crazy shit already with the
Yeah.
pitchers on this staff.
No kidding.
Um, Brittany, we round out the show with Rowdy Tellez. What the hell?
What the
Like,
hell?
also today, maybe
Oh,
in lesser news, they brought Trevor Gott back.
oh my gosh.
Blood Clot Gott. I don't remember which player said that.
Mm,
Someone in that clubhouse gave him that nickname last year, and I heard it and I was like, that one's not as fun as the cheeses. I was like, we're
rough.
gonna ignore that one.
That's a rough one.
Yeah. Rowdy Tellez,
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's just funny. And I feel like I'm kind of surprised no one, or at least I didn't see it on my feed, no one made the cheap organization pipeline joke about Rowdy Tellez, right? Um, but yeah, I don't know. There's some power. Like, he's what, 3 seasons removed from a 35 home run season, but
Mm-hmm.
like, um, I don't know. He's eaten up a good chunk of games the last few years. 2021, not so much. Oh no, those combined. Sorry, I'm looking at. I mean, he's been able to eat up a good chunk of games outside of 2 seasons that he's played in the majors. Um, oh, his batting average. Oh, it actually ticked up last year. Okay. 22 and 23 were rough in batting average. I was like, you would fit in perfectly with the 2024 Mariners.
He's not a
Um,
batting average guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you, because like he's on a minor league deal, so it's not like anything crazy is going on with this.
No. No.
Um,
Why not? I guess is
yeah,
kind of where it is. Uh, what when I did see that news drop, I did have a um kind of questioning about, ooh, is this first base insurance? Is someone hurt? Are they worried about something with someone that they felt the need to bring him in on a minor league deal to be insurance? I don't know. It could just be a why the hell not move. Um, he's a great personality. Regardless of what he can still do with a bat, when he connects with one, don't get me wrong, it's going. Um, but he's a good clubhouse presence. And if he still has some gas left in the tank and can fill in at a DH role, I don't know. I don't want to be in a position where we need Rowdy Tellez, but we could be. So I'm not going to read too much into it quite yet.
no, I mean, and that was especially with like the minor league deal. I'm like, you're not signing to him to anything like substantial.
Right.
Worried about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is a guy that could see the potential for his like him being needed at some point in the season, and maybe he's a guy who hangs out. I don't know if he wants to. Like,
Yeah.
if he doesn't break camp, I could understand if he wants to get the hell out of here, right?
Yeah.
Oh, is he? Oh, wait, I'm thinking of a different number. I was like 44. I was like, I don't know if you're wearing that
Mhm.
around here, buddy.
Not getting that one.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of interesting to see this. Like, also reading how Divish described his outfit as he came into the
Oh gosh,
clubhouse.
yeah.
He
He's
does like everything I've known about Rowdy Tellez is some thump when he is able to make contact, and like how fun he is, and then obviously the Pittsburgh story and how that all ended last
yeah.
offseason, and I was so yeah, I don't know. I would hope you don't because there's no real. space, right? Like ideally, if everyone is
Ideally.
healthy.
Yeah.
Um, like if he makes it over a Donovan Solano, then that looks ugly on you. If because there's at first base, there's no room, right? Let's just say this: there's no room.
Hope
DH,
not.
there's no yes, there's no room. I don't think he can play anywhere else.
No.
So he's pitched.
He has, yes. And I used him in Immaculate Grid the other day, and
Jesus
gave me a
Christ.
great rarity. It was fantastic.
Was that before or after he signed?
I think it was like the day after he
Oh,
signed. He
okay.
was
I was
on
gonna
he
say,
was
did you
on my
summon
mind.
him? Um, yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, if he's ultimately a guy who's gonna feel comfortable hanging around, they had a few guys like that last year, right? Like Michael Chavis was
Mhm.
around. I was like,
Yeah, yeah,
oh, okay. Like if he's happy to hang around, it's not bad to have that. Um, and maybe he's just mashing in AAA, and he's if someone else kicks the tires on him in the season, then I understand if you want to go.
yeah,
But I don't know. I'm just trying to like see the different scenarios for
yeah.
the rowdy man here because it doesn't seem like a lot outside of yes, here's a minor league deal. If you show the hell out, we'll figure it out, you know.
It
So
would be kind of fun.
it's this season's just gonna be at least for the hitters outside of the so basically the infield. The infield is just that meme of the record player that has the piece of paper on it. Could be fun to fix.
Yeah.
Like that's all it is. Like it really is, right? So
It's going to be so much fun
oh,
in
we'll have
the
fun.
most lovely and also most painful of ways.
The chaos and the
Yes.
lunacy will take over.
Yes.
We've had some of it already on the show, and we haven't really had anything like a crazy Mariners week like we'll have during the year yet. So we'll get there.
Yes, we will.
Um, yeah, that'll do it. I mean, again, not too much happened outside of the fact that they are here for full work. Well, not here. I'm not in Peoria. They are in Peoria. They've got full workouts going. And finally, I think everyone's reported, thankfully with Donovan.
Mhm.
We're getting games. So, I mean, I think a good amount of this going forward will be taking what we get from limited sample sizes of games. So, the next week, wow, we got a full slate of games. Isn't that wonderful?
I'm so
Um,
excited.
I don't know if I need to read all these out, but there's a game every single day to the next week. Really? Yes, every single. Wow.
Yep.
And there's a split squad games on the third on Thursday. Yeah. So
Let's go.
how wonderful is this?
It's
Oh
so.
no, Monday's on radio only, and
Oh.
Logan's pitching. Ugh, what a travesty.
I'm going to comment on that really quick. That he is the first of the regular starters to get the ball,
Yes.
which could potentially be setting up a precedent of him being the opening day starter. Potentially,
Ooh,
it's not
okay. That might
doesn't mean it's
be
written in blood, but that could potentially be setting that up.
maybe
So
that's something we need to talk about closer opening day.
yeah,
Well, I don't know when they'll announce that.
last year it was like right towards the end of spring training, if I
Maybe we'll do that next
recall.
week. Maybe next
Yeah.
week we'll look at that because like I know some people have wanted consistency, right? There's like Luis is your guy, he's the eldest, blah blah blah. I'm like Logan, mm, no no.
Yeah.
So there would be a nice boost for a guy that, has been through is what, your eldest outside of Luis? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And has eaten up a bunch of innings and has like stuck through like rumors about trades. Like wouldn't hurt. I don't know.
He
Um
rules.
so yeah, that'll do it. This is the February 24th episode of Mariner Mondays. We're getting closer and closer. Like in what? In 5 days we'll be within the same month as opening day. So we're creeping
Woo.
up. We're creeping up. So I don't know. Until we see you next time, take care of yourselves, be well, and do whatever you can to make today a great day.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, how about those abs? Oh, I'm excited.
I know. Where are you going to watch all those away games, though?
Away games. Huh. I was thinking of coming here since, after all, Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle sports.
I love that idea. Hope to see y'all here.